All right, welcome to another episode of the Relationship Marketing Podcast. Super excited for this one. I'm joined with Mike Volman, pro hockey player here in the Wilmington area. What's up, Mike? Thanks for joining me.
Hey, Brad. Good to be here, man. I'm super excited for this one. I got a lot to get off my chest right now.
So I'm all about relationships. That's why it's the Relationship Marketing Podcast. And as soon as I heard a hockey guy in Wilmington, where I'm from, I'm like, I got to meet him, got to hear the story. And you're building something. Can we touch on something you're building here locally that I'm pumped about as well?
Yeah, exactly. So we just launched the Wilmington Arena Project. It's a nonprofit 501c, and it's going to be a 10,000 seat arena to bring hopefully a professional hockey team here to town, as well as the circus and concerts and hopefully monster trucks and all that cool stuff that goes with having an arena. But first, we need an arena. And that's only going to happen through community love and support. Everybody needs to come together and make this thing happen. Because doing it through an ownership structure, sorry if I'm rambling, but an ownership structure, you invest $1 million, you get X%, all that. Like, there's too much DNA involved in that. So it needs to be through community love and support. And that's what we're going for.
I have a nonprofit myself. My wife has a nonprofit. Community giving back, that's something that's super important to me. So when you told me that, that's really key. How do you think that's going to affect like the people here in Wilmington, the other nonprofits, the kids, and maybe even people outside of Wilmington?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it always starts with the kids. It has to be kid-centric. You know, like, there is not enough opportunity. And I'm from here, and we can get into that in a second. But in my eyes, you know, we need to keep these kids out of trouble. You know, it's too easy to get in trouble nowadays, and it's too easy to, you know, play video games all day and just kind of waste away, you know, and that first and foremost is the main priority is just giving the kids of this community a vision of where they can go and what they can do with sport. You know, it doesn't even have to be just in hockey, you know, but when they see it, when they see this arena and they see a professional team and you know, I don't want to knock the Wilmington Sharks, but, you know, it's summer league college baseball. That's not professional baseball. I'm sorry. Not to knock the Sharks, but, you know, I love a good old baseball game, but I think we deserve, you know, they shot down that baseball stadium a few years ago because it was going to raise people's taxes. They were trying to build a big arena or a big baseball stadium. But this is going to be different. You know, we don't expect any tax implications to come from this, you know, and, you know, you speak about what it can provide the people. I mean, this thing is going to provide jobs. It's going to provide a sense of community that I don't think we've had in Wilmington, to be quite honest with you. You know, like, just the simple fact of having a team here that is going to bring the coolest show on ice, right? Hockey is the coolest show. The Carolina Hurricanes were the only team to sell out all of their games last year in the NHL.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
and imagine how, you know, kids just love that. All Canes jerseys going to school.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is, I mean, bringing it from there, I played hockey growing up, and that kept me out of troubles. And we had a big rink, and we had a junior B team there. And so I would train before and after school, and then I would go to practice, and then we would meet our friends at the hockey game. And that kept me out of trouble, like from a young age to even a late teenager. So I really like how you're bringing that together.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, I grew up here in Wilmington playing at the Wilmington Ice House. Are you familiar with the Ice House at all?
I am, but I don't go because there's nowhere to stand or sit. So
there you go. And that's a big problem. And I think the Wilmington Ice House was great for what its purpose, right? And that was to get hockey going in Wilmington. But now we're ready for that next step, right? And I think that this structure, the 501c nonprofit structure, is the way to go. Obviously, the franchise that comes here will be a for-profit entity, you know, and hopefully they do really well. But we need that arena, and to get the government backing and hopefully get government financing down the line and get grants, state grants, federal grants. There's a lot of endowments, you know, the Landfall Endowment, New Hanover County Endowment. In order to get access to those, you need to be kid-centric. You need to have kids in the forefront of your vision. And yeah, I'm planning on I remember when I went to middle school here, I went to Noble Middle, and they would call us all into the gymnasium, and someone from the Boy Scouts would come and give a big speech about the Boy Scouts, or just a speaker would come and talk about this and that. I'm not sure exactly what they would talk about, but it was kind of boring, honestly. But I would love to, and I feel uniquely qualified to do this, and we can get into that, but I've already been in contact with New Hanover County schools, Pender County, Brunswick County, and I want to, spread the word of this arena to the kids directly, and just show them like, hey, this arena is coming to town. It's going to bring together all of us. It's going to unite us in a way that's not even, conceivable right now, right? Like your podcast studio is like, you had a vision for it and it happened. Beautiful.
Surround yourself with the right people, right people in the community, the right, experts as well. And then you build something great that can serve others. That's exactly what you're doing.
Exactly. There's just,
even better. I'm pretty new here. So, you mentioned the old ice rink and the school. But when I started asking about, hey, who's this Mike Volman guy, to a couple of people I know, they're like, oh, he's awesome, plays pro hockey, great person, local. So I've only heard great things from you, just from a few people so far. So, I guess share your background and what got you here, if you could just touch on that.
Yeah, no, that's super humbling to hear that. And, I first moved here start of 5th grade. Cool. And when I moved here in 2004, and there was no hockey rink. I moved from Charlotte, and before that, I was born in New Jersey, so I got the skates on when I was like 3 years old and moved to Charlotte. So I moved here around 10 years old, no hockey, like my favorite sport, just kind of gave it up, end up playing at Jelly Beans, the roller hockey rink with the disco ball and the wood floors, and that's the only hockey I could get my hands on. But I was living in Ogden at the time, and they ended up building the Wilmington Ice House a mile away from my house.
Right at that same time?
After 1 year of playing roller hockey, then they built the Wilmington Ice House. And my little sister, who's 10 years younger than me, we had like a little baby carriage for the back of the bike. So I would just throw my hockey bag in the back of the bike, head down to the rink, and would be there all day. And got pretty good and was playing for the junior Seahawks, the youth program there. And once you get to a certain point in hockey here in Wilmington, you have to go to Raleigh to play for the junior Carolina Hurricanes.
That's a 2-hour drive for anyone watching that not from here.
Exactly. And that's a 2-hour drive. So 3 days a week. The sacrifice from my parents was unbelievable. And that's one huge thing about hockey parents is they're willing to sacrifice. Parents. Exactly.
They'll drive 5 hours.
Exactly. But we got to bring all that sacrifice to a closer
15 minutes. All right.
15 location and we'll be good. But no, we were going 3 days a week for practice. And then on the weekends, we were flying up to Boston, flying to Pittsburgh, Chicago for all these tournaments. And eventually they said, hey, if you want to continue playing hockey, you're going to need to go to a prep school, New England prep school. So I went on Google and typed in hockey prep school, and a bunch of pins came up in the Northeast, and it's just a cluster of pins. And I clicked on some of them and went on their website, applied, and then I got accepted to one called New Hampton in the middle of New Hampshire. Went up there.
Brought your snow hat, snow gloves?
Didn't even have any. Didn't have any. I just had like my surfer hair, kind of like the Justin Bieber style. And I got there and all these kids were like, who is this guy? And I didn't get recruited to be there. Once I got to the school, I realized that the head coach had recruited a full team of players from like local Boston high schools and stuff like that. And yeah, I'll be honest, I got bullied during that time. Like I'd come back to my little dorm room and they took all the lead out of my pencils and they put Gold Bond on my pillow. So I went to sleep and it was just like, which it's hilarious looking back. Yeah. But then it was funny how it changed when hockey season rolled around and there was hockey tryouts and the coach decided to keep me on the team because I had some good skill.
There you go.
And so I ended up playing for 3 years. Everybody was my best friend after that. I never held it against them, a little bit of bitterness, but I tried to be friends with everybody. And so did, the prep school for about 3 years and then played 1 year junior hockey. You said that you played junior hockey as well.
Yep.
I ended up at Babson College in Wellesley, Mass. They kind of gave me a good academic scholarship, I guess.
By the way, real quick, if anyone's not familiar with Wilmington, because this will go out worldwide, Wilmington's a beach town. So imagine a kid coming from the beach with probably a small rink going to New Hampshire, which is a hockey town.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you said multiple pins you could have gone and played. So just for some context there.
Yeah, for sure. And well, there is a little bit of surfing up there in New Hampshire, I guess, and that little sliver that hits
1 month a year.
Yeah, but it's just a different vibe, I feel like people up there in New England are a little bit harder, and maybe that's why I kind of got bullied because I went there and I'm like kind of got that Southern hospitality, that Southern vibe, and people take your kindness as weakness from time to time. But I digress. I end up going to Babson. I really don't want to talk about myself too much because I really want this to be about the project. But end up going to Babson College, really good entrepreneurship school. Played hockey there. We were Division III, but we were ranked in the top 10 for the whole time that we were there in the country. You know, so I was like,
That's huge.
Yeah, by my 3rd and 4th year, I was the captain of the team and became All-American my senior year. And then I got a message from a coach out in Switzerland, and he said, "Hey, your last name is Swiss. Do you have a Swiss passport?" And I asked my grandma, and I was like, do we have a passport? She's like, "Yes. If you have the blood of a Swiss,
You have a passport.
then you have a passport."
Nice.
So he was like, "Hey, come out to Switzerland for 1 year after you graduate. We'll give you 20,000 for the year, and with an apartment and a car." Wow. And I was like, "All right, let's do it. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna come back, get a job on Wall Street or in Boston somewhere."
Yep.
Lo and behold, we won the championship that year.
That's incredible.
It was awesome. We won the National League B. It was the B division of Switzerland. And they said, "Hey, why don't you come back for a second year? We'll give you 50,000. I'm like, "All right, let's go." And so went back for that second year, just kind of riding the wave. And that's when an agent approached me. He's one of the biggest hockey agents in Switzerland. And he said, basically, "You need me way more than I need you. I have no players in the B League, but I think I can bring you to the A League." So signed a little contract with him, and months later, he came to me with an offer from Geneva, the Geneva,
Awesome.
Switzerland, like in the top league. And it was a 2-year contract, and I said, "All right, let's do it." So did my first 2 years there, and that kind of led me into another 2-year deal after that. And look, I just want to say, I'm not like the creme de la creme, as they would say in French. I'm not the cream of the crop.
Yep.
I'm enthusiastic to be there every day. I bring the best out of my teammates, and I'm also the locker room DJ, making sure.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, the supervisor of ambiance. And so I did a 2-year, and then a 3-year deal.
Okay.
So I played for Geneva for 7 years. And during that time, I got my master's degree at University of Geneva for a whopping 500 Swiss francs, which is pretty much like $600 per semester.
Really?
Yeah.
Incredible.
I mean, a drop in the bucket compared to...
You could have been there partying, skipping school, just doing hockey, but decided you were going all in on this master's degree.
Exactly.
That's huge.
Exactly. Well, I just always wanted to keep one foot ready to jump out of the hockey space because, you only have one body and, you're one injury away from just not having a career anymore. So I always wanted to make sure that I was ready for a career. And basically, now that my contract just ended in Geneva, I signed another contract, a fresh 2-year contract, but back down in the B League.
Okay.
And the team that I'm going to, they have a project, a $420 million new arena project that they want to win the B League and get promoted up to the A League.
Perfect
So
timing.
exactly, perfect timing. I already kind of had thought about this Wilmington Arena, and I was like, before I signed with them, "Hey, I have this Wilmington Arena. I would love to sit in on all the meetings when you guys are building your arena and kind of apply what I can to the Wilmington Arena." Oh, and they're all for it. They're super stoked about it too. So it's all kind of coming in line like that. And now this summer, we're just trying to get the word out. And
Got a great fundraiser coming up next month, which we'll talk about.
Yep.
Is it so you have to go back? What position do you play?
I'm a defenseman.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Are you stay back like Nick Lindstrom, or are you Carlson trying to score?
I'm trying to score.
Yeah.
I'm trying to score. I'm trying to get involved, but as a defenseman, you have to have good defense.
Yep.
And I made my career off just being a dog in the corners. Like if we're battling for a puck, me versus you, like only one of us is coming out with that puck.
That's usually
and
it.
like that's going to be me.
Yep.
Like I'm sorry.
That's
You might be a good guy, but I'm getting that puck.
That's cool.
And yeah, I just built a career off that, like tenacity and.
So they're building an arena over there. You purposely are. You're going all in. You're going to go back for this 2-year thing, but you're going to learn. You're going to study.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to pick all of this up, but also you're applying this here now.
Exactly.
You have a fundraiser next month. What's the plans now? Maybe this summer, and then leading into over the next year.
Right. So let me just take a step back real quick. I've been coming back to Wilmington every summer in all of my off seasons. So for the past 9 years of playing pro, I always come back to Wilmington and do my summer training at the Wilmington Ice House, which is now the Polar Ice House.
Find Mike at your local coffee shop as well.
Yep. And then I post up in the coffee shops, get some work done. But so now where we are is we need a third-party feasibility study. Okay. Because I can say that the demographics of Wilmington are in the right trajectory, and that that hockey culture there's an undertone of hockey culture here. But if it's not done by a reputable firm that does or has,
you got to prove it.
You got to prove it. So we're raising $55,000 by the end of this summer for a management company. It's called maybe I'll say, but we're leaning towards a sports facilities company, SFC.
Yep.
They manage 30 rinks around the nation.
Cool.
A couple arenas and hockey rinks. They manage the ice rink at Central Park in New York, for instance.
Oh, wow.
And they just have all these different locations of hockey rinks that they know exactly the cost, and they know like the future cash flows, and they can give us a full pro forma analysis of what our arena is going to generate over time.
Awesome.
And so we need that third-party feasibility study so we can go, and this would be the plan for next summer.
Okay.
We go to the major corporations in town, GE, Live Oak Bank, PPD, or I think they just got bought maybe or something.
Yeah, the new ones.
And then we can go to them and say, hey, this thing is coming to life. This thing, it's verified by this third party that it's going to come to life. It can happen. And the fact that it's a 501c and it's a nonprofit through community love.
You don't have to pressure people on increase in taxes.
We don't have to pressure anybody to do anything.
That's huge.
They're going to want to be a part of this. They're going to want to have their name, the Live Oak Bank Arena or the GE Arena. That sounds pretty cool.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds cool.
Yep.
So that's the idea. And, you think of, to bring it down in scale, imagine like a staircase outside of the arena, kind of leading up to the arena. Well, that staircase can be a donation of service from a local masonry company, and they're going to have a little plaque right there that says donated by so-and-so masonry. And because we're tax deductible nonprofit, they'll be able to deduct the value of that from their taxes.
Free sponsorship, advertising without having to advertise, and the tax deduction and supporting the community.
Exactly.
That's the way to do it.
It's a win-win all around.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
What would you say to the local business owner here in Wilmington?
Well, I would say, look, we're doing a fundraiser on July 12th at Waterman's Brewery.
So let's be there.
And let's be there. And right now we're looking for raffle prizes, right? Because we're going to give out raffle tickets, 10 tickets for $20, or I don't know exactly what we're going to do, but we're just looking for gift cards. Dave & Buster's already gave us $200 worth of gift cards. Oceanic already gave us some gift cards. Harris Teeter. When I'm going around town, I have my flyers and I'm like, hey, we're building this thing. Do you want to give? The feedback that I've gotten so far has been incredible. Really? Everybody is like, wow, that's such a good idea. We would love to donate to your raffle. And then I kind of add a little sweetener on there as okay, you guys are going to be first in line for a long-term marketing, visibility in the rink itself, or in the arena itself when it's ready. So we'll give them the first right of refusal on that, just for being early supporters. So yeah, I'd say come get involved. Come, you don't have to donate anything. Just we'll just say that you support us, and collaborate with us in some way.
Well, has anyone given you any feedback on, I'm not interested in hockey? Hockey's huge in the north. I'm from the north as well, and it's huge. But farther south you go, the less popular it is. Florida's, they just won the cup, Stanley Cup. So what's the feedback been on, hockey? Why hockey in Wilmington?
Brad, I'll be honest with you. I have not gotten a bad review.
Let's go.
Nobody has said why hockey. Everybody's like, wow, I love hockey. I go to the Hurricanes games sometimes.
The Hurricanes have been huge for us.
The Hurricanes are huge, and a lot of people don't know this because Wilmington is so closed off from the hockey world, but the East Coast Hockey League is the third tier. You have the NHL, the AHL, and you have the East Coast Hockey League, the ECHL.
Yep.
There's a team in Charleston, South Carolina. There's a team in Greenville, South Carolina.
Oh, wow.
There's a team coming next year. The Spitting Chicklets guys from their Barstool.
Yeah.
They're a Barstool podcast, Spitting Chicklets.
Yeah.
They made New Amsterdam vodka and all that stuff. Yeah. they're opening an ECHL franchise in Greensboro, North Carolina,
No
at
way.
the old Greensboro Coliseum, and they're calling themselves the Greensboro Gargoyles. So, yeah,
If those guys are doing it, they see some sort of profit in that.
Right.
Also, probably giving back, but they see a positive return, whether it's just giving back or money incentives.
yeah. Well, I think for them, the franchise is a for-profit entity, and I think they're trying to develop something unique. Full transparency, I slid in their DMs just from the Wilmington Arena Instagram. I said, hey, you guys are going to want to relocate your franchise to Wilmington when this thing is, built, because either you're going to be with us, you're going to be against us, in terms of the hockey. And from my personal belief, Wilmington is a more attractive location than Greensboro. It's beach town. It's kind of more of a niche market, but yeah, everybody's from the north. So,
well, it'll
we'll
kind of
see.
be like that when you get offered to go play in Switzerland or Geneva. You're like, wow, that's the place to be probably. And so they're actually saying this a lot in the NHL, that players are purposely signing with Florida teams because of the tax and the weather. So as soon as somebody says, I've got a hockey team in Wilmington, I'll go there. I'll go play there.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And to that point, not even just at the professional level, but then we can touch on the NCAA level in a second, because the NIL has changed the whole landscape of NCAA. Okay. But then you have the junior hockey level that you played. I mean, why can't we have a junior hockey team here? Okay, maybe a little bit travel intensive, but Raleigh, Charlotte, Norfolk, Hampton Roads, these are all kind of hubs. Hockey's around, you can be part of that league. And how about summer showcase tournaments where their kids come in from all around the world, or maybe not world, but all around the country, to play in these showcase tournaments and get exposure.
Parents will sign me up for that one. It's by the beach. We're going there.
Exactly. Summer camps, like hockey camps. It's a no-brainer.
Break it down for me. What's that? I'm seeing an empty piece of land right now.
Yeah.
What's that rink going to look like when I get there? What am I going to walk into?
Oh yeah. I mean, look, we've made some AI generated images that we put up on our Instagram and everything. We have people voting on it. So I don't want to talk too much about what it would look like. We haven't gotten an architect yet. That'll come after the feasibility study.
How do you envision it?
I envision a 10,000 seat arena. Go nuts and bolts. 10,000 seats, with the hockey rink there, and basketball court. If we, shout out Michael Jordan, he's from here.
That's true.
Can we get a professional basketball team
basketball rink? What do they call it? Basketball rink. Basketball stadium there.
Yeah,
sure.
A basketball floor.
There you go.
And I don't know if you know this, but all these arenas that they have, in Boston, for instance, where the hockey team, Boston Bruins, like they just put the floor on top of the ice. And then the basketball team comes play. So it's very easy. It takes like 3 hours to put the basketball floor on top.
Multi-purpose. You could do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, even, let's bring the circus back in town. Cirque du Soleil. That'd be pretty cool. But no, so we want 10,000 seats, main stadium. Then we got to have a practice rink, a normal, your standard, almost like the Wilmington Ice House attached to that.
You don't need fans for that one.
You don't need fans for that. It's more of like a practice rink. And then we would have, I envision, a third kind of sport court rink. So it doesn't have ice. It still has the boards, but it just, for roller hockey, for volleyball, for indoor soccer. And then not to mention, then you have birthday parties there. You'll have after school programs there. And that's really the bread and butter, is going to be the after school programs, because from that, having the after school programs will allow us to attract more government funding. When we apply for grants, when we go to New Hanover County and say, hey, look at this project, we need a couple more million to finish it off. Look what we're going to do for the community. Look what we're going to do for the kids. Look
incredible.
Come on.
Well, I mean, if you even break it down as if a parent's watching this, whether a business owner or just a parent that you want to help get involved, show up for the fundraising events, donate if you want to or able to. But think of your kid at a young age, right? What is there to do in Wilmington? And what is there to do in these cities, right?
Yeah.
There's not Dave and Buster's video games at home. Yeah. So I can imagine a kid going and learning hockey and then playing hockey for a team and then wanting to stay in Wilmington to play for the college team.
Yeah.
And then to stay to play for the junior team and then go to the games after school.
Oh, man. Come on. You're speaking my language, Brad. You're speaking my language. Exactly. Look, I think that Wilmington has a lot of growth potential for those other sports too, like baseball and basketball and football. I don't know those sports so well,
Yep.
but I know that it's a dime in a dozen where a kid comes through the public schooling system and then goes and plays pro and whatever. And I think there's still a lot more growth to be done on that side, because why can't Wilmington be the hub of so many different sports? We're such a great community, and yeah, there's just so much growth potential there. It's
Well, when you told me
awesome.
about it, I got excited. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've got 2 daughters, so they don't play hockey, but they want to do things I enjoy. So they want always say, "I'll go to a Hurricanes game with you." Well, it's 2 hours away. It's hundreds of dollars. You got to drive home late at night. So, but they would be more than happy to go to a college hockey game or a ECHL game.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's something you can go as a family and go do as well.
Oh, exactly. And my vision for that, like I said, the franchise that comes here, ECHL, will be a for-profit entity that would basically pay rent to the nonprofit, the Wilmington Arena. That would be super interesting. In between periods, you have live music, like the ice game is going on, boom, the period ends, your attention kind of directs up, and there's a live band up there. And then it's like, outside the arena for the tailgate, you have
Heck yeah.
other fundraising events for kids' schools can be happening there. The Girl Scouts can sell their cookies there. Like, people, it's going to draw 10,000 people hopefully for these games. And it's just, you get on the Jumbotron as a kid. Do you ever get that feeling? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Did you
You
ever
look
go?
forward to
What
it.
games did you go to back in the day when you were?
Oh man, as many Red Wing games as I could, and then like junior hockey, they called them the Flint Generals, Flint, Michigan, and they would just go. Back then they would just go fight, but you'd try to get on the Jumbotron as long as it wasn't the kiss cam.
Or if you're sitting next to a pretty girl that you
Then
don't
it's
know
all
very
good,
well.
yeah.
then-
Come on, bring it over.
Yeah. No, yeah, that feeling when you get on the Jumbotron, or like the mascot has like that rocket launcher
Shooting
that
out t-shirts.
shooting t-shirts into the stands.
That'd be awesome.
Oh man.
And that's one thing is what are we doing tonight? That's always the chat. What are we having to eat tonight?
Well, let's go to a
Yeah.
brewery.
Nope,
Let's go to a
kids-
brewery and
Kids
drink.
don't want to do that.
Yeah. Oh, there's no games there. Right.
Yep.
Right. Oh, let's go to Dave and Buster's. Oh, it's pretty expensive. No.
Pretty
Love
expensive.
Dave and Buster's, but
Yep. Let's just get Chipotle. That's not that's not any good.
let's just watch Netflix.
Yeah. So what are we doing tonight? What are we doing this weekend? We're going to a hockey game as a family.
We're going to a hockey game. Maybe we're going to go to the circus.
Yep.
Maybe there's a cool artist coming into town.
Love it, man.
And it's middle of winter, so maybe the Live Oak Pavilion, which is an awesome venue, by the way.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not really suitable because the weather and stuff
it's
like
raining.
that. Maybe it's raining, and yeah, it's just, it gives people things to do, and it's going to, I also envision outside of the arena itself, there's going to be some shops and some hotel, and it's got to
Hopefully
be.
you get a little restaurant in there or something. That'd be cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's another thing with these local businesses that I'm trying to attract as corporate donors. It's like, if you guys donate, let's say we're going to raise our money for the first phase of funding. Let's say the first phase we need 25 million, let's say.
Yep.
If you guys put in 1,500,000, you get the opportunity, because it's a donation. Your investment isn't going to grow from 500,000 to 3 million in 10 years, and you can sell your position. Like, no, that's
a great tax write-off.
It's a tax
And
write-off
then-
for you, but you get the opportunity to, let's say you're a restaurant, to be involved and have maybe a dedicated restaurant inside the arena.
Boom.
I was talking to Johnny Mercer's pier because I was trying to get this fundraiser to be on the pier.
Oh,
I just
cool.
thought that would be super cool. And I'm saying to them, like, think about, we could get like the Johnny Mercer's pier section of the rink,
Oh, that'd be cool.
like where the
Yeah.
Zamboni comes out, kind of like on top. So it's like kind of like a pier, and like people can stand and watch the game. It's kind of like a standing area, but you're like on a pier inside of an arena.
That'd be awesome.
It would be amazing. You're in. But they weren't. They weren't in.
Hey, they might change their mind as they see this thing grow.
I hope so.
One of the biggest questions I've gotten, I don't know if you can share this, is where would you build this at here in Wilmington?
Yeah. So I'm a little bit binded through some non-disclosures.
No problem.
And I think there's going to be some big news coming out in Wilmington about some developments that are going on within the next couple months. What I can say is that there's a lot of interest in this project, and one specific interest they're building something and they're using the same management company that we have aligned ourselves with.
That might be a good fit.
So we're trying to do everything that we can to align with them.
Smart.
You know, that management company I mentioned, they're going to do our feasibility analysis. They're going to do our feasibility analysis, and we're going to be aligned with this developer who is, I hope, going to bring us in onto his land. But I can't say too much about that. But there's also been other interests out there too. And where is the best location? I believe is coming out of town on I-40 and, you know, somewhere in between exit 420 and, you know, the beginning of what's the next?
See, I don't even know the freeways yet.
Oh, you don't know the freeways?
Yeah.
Well, did you know that I-40 goes from Wilmington all the way to California?
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So when you're leaving Wilmington on I-40, there's like, it says like something, California,
Wow.
3,000 miles away.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it goes all the way across the country. So just coming out of town a little bit is the perfect place for it to go. Because then you're going to attract the Jacksonville crowd, you attract the Leland crowd, and all that infrastructure is already, it's beautiful infrastructure now. You know, all the getting from, if you go from downtown up to like Hampstead, for instance, where I live, it's like very beautiful.
All right, so what's the last step? So over the next year, you're looking for some donors. So I'm going to start spreading the word for you.
Appreciate that.
You're going to be getting this land quote. I forget the name of it. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get a feasibility study.
That's what it is.
Right. We're going to get a feasibility study. We're going to raise the money for that by the end of the summer. Hopefully, from our fundraiser, we're going to raise enough money. We've had a bunch of donors come out of nowhere.
Already. That's cool.
We have a bunch of donors, and there's donors that have said to us, "Hey, if you don't get that 55K by the end of your fundraiser, we'll top you off to get the 55K."
Let's go. Sweet.
So we're right there. We're gonna get that. So then that kind of works pretty well that I'm going back to Switzerland to play hockey, because the feasibility study is going to be probably 2, 3, 4 months for them to do. They got to send people here and do a whole demo analysis and yeah, they got to do all that stuff that goes into a feasibility study. And so that'll take up kind of half of my season going into the new year. And then while I'm playing hockey, I'll still be able to kind of manage things from here. We have a really great team in place, and the team is just consisted of people who are just passionate about hockey and passionate about the city.
Yeah. Well, I'm one of them now.
Exactly. It's
I'm
all
not
of
part
us.
of the team, but yeah, I'm going to be talking about it a lot.
Right. That's the main, and I should have said this at the beginning, that the main point of this project is it's not about me. It's really not about me. I do feel uniquely qualified to start this, but it's really about all of us. It's about we. It's about Wilmington.
A team.
It's
Building a
about
team.
all of us. Like, it's only going to happen if we all unify together around a common cause. And how good would that feel for the community? And when we cut that ribbon,
That's going to be awesome.
almost going to shed a tear just thinking about it.
You're going to be pumped.
Oh, man. So also just looking towards next summer, we're going to have that feasibility study. We're going to be getting all corporate donations. And then that's where I want to go to the, start going to the schools and presenting to the schools myself and getting out there in front of the kids and teaching the kids. This is what a nonprofit is opposed to a LLC.
Yep.
And this is someone who has been in your shoes and has made it to the professional level. But you guys aren't going to have to travel all around the country to make that happen. You guys are going to have something right here.
Huge.
So that's kind of the roadmap for the next year. And it's taken a life of its own, this thing. So
Yep. One thing I have this podcast, I have my YouTube channel, is supporting people through social media.
Mm-hmm.
And as this thing grows, I think if anyone watching or listening, just go follow Mike, go connect, go to his website, and just support him on social media. Maybe do you have an email list?
Yeah. So
emails?
if you go to WilmingtonArenaProject.com, you can become a member. It doesn't cost you anything to become a member. You have the option to donate, but you don't have to donate. But your email automatically gets put onto our mailing list. So we're gonna have a newsletter and keep everybody up to date. And then our Instagram is Wilmington_Arena_project.
Post that link right below here.
We'll post that link below. We're thinking about getting rid of the underscores just because it kind of, maybe you could shed some light on that. Like,
Doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter.
No, just if someone wants to support, you click the link. You follow, you're good. Yeah.
Exactly. But just in terms of like people looking it up, when we still haven't reached that point in the algorithm when someone types in Wilmington Arena, it doesn't like come up right away. So
what I would love to see, and I think this would help, are you going to be able to take videos and reels while you're in Switzerland and while you're either playing behind the scenes, point of view of what they're doing? You think?
Wow. Yeah, I think that could be something like the Chronicles. I could make a little founders chronicles when I'm over there and just kind of my insights to what's going on. But like I said, like we have a team now of people who are really backing this thing and supporting and pushing it. So I believe that we should have a fundraiser, at least one fundraiser, or at least an awareness, maybe Carolina Hurricanes night. I don't know if I got to get into the Carolina Hurricanes because they're backing us too.
Yeah.
But there's enough people here that are like, we're all arm in arm in this. And just because I'm going to be out there, for sure, I'll do some chronicles and stuff. But again, it's not about me. It's about everybody. So the next guy is going to step up. My friend Kyler, shout out Kyler. He, this guy, like college graduate, he played hockey up at Plymouth State up in New Hampshire, kind of, same, but he's from Wilmington. Cool. And he's just grabbing this thing bull by the horns. And he went to like 21 different locations asking for raffle prizes. And then like our other friend that we grew up playing hockey with, like he's really spearheading like the Facebook, going on Facebook groups, like the Wilmington community page and posting our event.
Really smart.
And it's just, it has a life of its own. It's really not me at all. I put the structure together. I put the website, which is not great. I use Google Sites, and we're going to overhaul that at some point. But yeah, we're just rocking and rolling.
Well, if you don't mind, maybe I can donate our time and build you a sweet website.
Wow.
Let's do it.
Would love that. I'll give you our EIN number, right? That's what you need, the tax deductible number.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. That sounds good. All right. Tell the audience where they can find you and support you the most. You said Instagram. We'll post the links below. Website.
Yep. WilmingtonArenaProject.com. Okay. Facebook, Instagram. Yep. And if you guys can just follow is the most important.
Share.
Tell
your friends about it.
Yeah. Tell your friends. Comment. We want to do a lot of polls, like we just did one with 4 different images from ChatGPT. What it could look like one's a dome, one's more square, one's like half dome, and it's like, hey, vote on your best, what you think is your favorite, and just things like that, And then when it comes to the franchise, what should the logo be?
Oh, that is be awesome.
What should the team name be that comes here?
I'm having my daughters vote on those.
What do you think it should be? If you have any at the top of your head, I have a couple.
I mean, it doesn't have to be something that has to do with sea life, fish.
I think it could.
Yep. Sharks.
Could.
No, we're not a big shark town.
But there's already the Sharks, the Wilmington Sharks, the baseball team.
Okay.
And there's already the Wilmington Hammerheads, the soccer team.
What about the Fins? Dolphins.
Dolphins could be nice. Fins. Like an angry dolphin, though?
Oh, yeah.
Or are we going to be like the cool dolphins? Like porpoise.
Well, that's cool.
Porpoises, they flock together.
Yep.
Wow.
What's your ideas?
Well, the top one on my list, this might be a little bit kind of edgy. The Wilmington Chill.
Okay.
Because I think it's a pretty chill town.
It
and
is.
kind of like play on words.
Yep.
Chill town. Hockey's
go to the
chill.
beach, you see surfers chilling.
You see a lot of people chilling around here.
Yep.
So that's one. I say that's probably 1B. And then 1A would be like the Wilmington swordfish or spearfish. With like the nose.
I like that.
The nose of the fish is like a hockey stick.
Yep.
And kind of, I think the logo could be cool and the mascot could be cool. We have like a
hockey stick on the nose. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, can I tell you about the Carolina Hurricanes real quick?
Yeah, share that.
So the Carolina Hurricanes, they are going to be at the fundraiser event, not the players themselves, but I got in contact with Jacob Slavin. He's like the number one defenseman on the team. And I texted Brent Burns, but he normally like goes off grid because he's really like a hiker and stuff. So I'm pretty sure he's probably like hiking or fishing somewhere and hasn't checked his phone.
Yep.
But Jacob Slavin is going to be donating a signed stick for the raffle.
Awesome.
And then we're also going to have some autographed pucks. The Carolina Hurricanes are sending us autographed pucks to raffle off. And they're also bringing an inflatable shooting tunnel.
That's cool.
For hockey. So, and it has like all the Carolina Hurricanes logos. And people are going to be able to shoot some shots and
let's go.
I think we're going to try to make some sort of targets. You know, if you hit 2 out of 4 targets, then maybe you get a free hat or you know, discount code in the merchandise store. And
that's exciting. We'll be there.
Man, it's so
I'm
exciting.
gonna bring this camera here, so you guys watching here, you'll see the same shots from the camera on the Instagram page after we shoot some footage of the event. So.
Oh yeah. So we can count you in. You're going to be there on the 12th.
Be there. Bringing some friends, bringing the family. So
Awesome.
Be there.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Brad.
Appreciate you guys watching. Please go support Mike. Give him a thumbs up. Let him know, you know, any way you're excited about this or how you'd want to be involved, or, you know, just reach out and at least give him a follow and share with your friends. But I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, me too. And I just want to leave with one last word. Again, I guess I have to reiterate, nonprofit, 501c3, tax deductible. It's not an ownership structure. Nobody's trying to make $1 million. Nobody's trying to make your taxes go up.
Building the community.
We're trying to bring the community together, something that has never been done in this community. It's been done elsewhere.
Yeah.
And we're going to do this thing through love and support. So let's go, Wilmington.
Let's go.
Come on.
Appreciate it, Mike. See you guys. We'll see you on the next episode.
Ciao.